Few seconds. We will start in 1 minute. We're already live. Right, I think we should start now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New Age Finance and Accounting Summit. My name is Varsha and I'm from Khalij Times. I hope you're having a good time to all the attendees attending all these sessions, basically. Moving on to our next session. The topic for today is what does it take to scale automation for maximum business impact? And our speaker for today is Mr. FAWWAZ QADAN. So just to give you all a little bit introduction for Mr. FAWWAZ is Mr. FAWWAZ is passionate about business impactful solution. He is the Middle East region head for Blueprism. Basically, he is a region executive and general manager for Blueprism in Middle East and Africa. Before joining Blueprism, he led businesses in HP, Microsoft, SAP, and Splunk in the Middle East, Africa. So welcome, FAWWAZ. It's an absolute honor to have you on board. Before we begin your session, I would just like to play a small video for all our attendees, and then you can start speaking. Yes?
Great. I think you need to press play.
Mashreq is one of the most innovative banks. We have had recognition for the past 2 years from Gartner, specifically across innovation in the EMEA region. We currently have close to 97% of all our financial transactions are originated and processed digitally. That is extreme.
A trade bank prints about 4,000 to 5,000 documents a day. One case contains about 50 pages average, which have 9 different unstructured documents like invoice, packing list, bill of lading, and etc. The users has to pick up 23 parties for section screening, and they have to go through the inconsistencies among the documents. So you can imagine how much the manual work that we have put in. Currently in trade finance, there are 4 different OCR engines running. We have trained the engine for the 4 different product types. They are capable and structured accordingly to pick up the right parties and the right information from the document. Once the customer gives the documents, it comes to our scanner. From the scanner, OCR reading these documents and classify them and indexing them. And OCR does pick up all the data on the classified documents and putting into a summary sheet, which shows the users that this data flows in from that particular document, which is a great achievement to reduce errors and faster turnaround of the documents. This gives us a faster turnaround, more accurate data picked up, more accurate section screening is being done. End state is that these documents are cash for our customers, and the faster turnaround means cash cycles of the customer is getting improved.
Mr. Fawwaz, I would please request you to start the session.
Very good. Just a quick check if you can see my screen and you can hear me well.
Yes, I can see your screen and I can hear you well.
Very good. Well, good morning, everyone joining the new Accounting and Finance Summit. It's a pleasure to be with you today. You know, Ernst & Young did a survey of almost 800 CFOs. They basically attempted to answer the question, is the future of finance new technology or new people? The research shows that many CFOs believe that their current finance function is not equipped to meet the demands the future will place on it. Almost half say their current function does not have the right mix of capabilities to meet its future priorities. Almost 70% see the finance leader role fundamentally changing as traditional finance tasks are automated or managed in shared service centers. EY believe that even with these extreme numbers that came from the CFOs, the EY team believe that many senior executives are underestimating the changes on the horizon for the finance function. So basically, change is in the air. So the answer to the question EY asked the CFOs is clearly both. It's technology and people. On the technology side, advanced technologies like robotic process automation, analytics, and others offer CFOs an exciting opportunity to reimagine what the finance function should look like. CFOs are key players in driving adoption of these technologies and are leading the transformation that comes from technology innovation. Equally importantly, even more importantly, on the people side, CFOs must build the right teams with the right skills to get the most out of new technologies. So success for the future finance function will depend on combining the intelligence of smart technologies with the brains, emotional intelligence, and interpersonal skills of talented people, many of whom we have on the call today. For automation at scale, Blueprism is the most successful automation company. Why is that? Why is scale important in automation? And what are companies that scale doing that is different than other companies? Blueprism created the RPA market and even coined the term robotic process automation RPA. And we have a point of view when it comes to automation and RPA in the enterprise. And I would like to walk you through our point of view. With the current pandemic and the impact on economies and business, automation is even more relevant. Let's look at the typical enterprise. So in a typical enterprise, you have underlying business rules that are driving consistency, repeatability, and scale. These are basically the applications that we use in the day-to-day. However, for customer interactions, for judgment, empathy, and the interpretation of information, we have people. Now, what happens is, over time, the environment changes, and the processes have to change and adapt. And basically, the quickest way to respond is to add more work to people, which is specifically happening in the finance function. They just ask to do more and more and more. Or you dedicate people to fill these gaps. So you end up with large operations teams that drive the heart of the enterprise. Now, if you map the processes in a business according to the volume of work, it will look something like this. On the left side of the graph are processes that IT have already automated. Enterprise resource planning, customer relationship management, core banking applications in a bank, various finance applications that the finance and accounting teams use. These are the major automations, and they are already taken care of by the IT team. On the extreme right of the graph are basically lower priority processes in terms of impact. The middle area is basically what people do in an enterprise day in and day out. do a small part of a process and pass it to a colleague, update one of the systems on the left, read the contents of a document, enable a service, get information from one of the systems on the left, update the different systems on the left, obtain an approval, etc., etc. And this should sound very familiar to the finance and accounting professionals on the call. Now, traditional automation approaches basically try to apply the approach on the left, the way enterprise IT develops and rolls out these major automations, CRM and enterprise resource planning, to the automation of operations, which means IT now have to add more resources, developers, architects, programmers, and learn the operational processes in order to develop the automations for the operations task in the middle. It does not work because you're piling up more activities on the IT team who are already constrained because of their focus on innovating and maintaining the existing application. Now imagine trying to scale that automation. Let's look at an analogy to a digital marketing platform. The IT team hosts the platform and the marketing team creates the content, decides on the look and feel of the website, publishes through various marketing channels. Can you imagine if you ask the IT organization to run digital marketing? They are not resourced to do that. It does not happen. Yet in automations, strangely, this is exactly what happens. What you need to do is basically take sophisticated technology and giving it to the business users, giving it to the finance and accounting users. They are the experts. They're the ones that understand their own business processes. So what you really need is a platform that the IT provides and for the finance or operations team to build the automations. After all, they are the experts in these processes, which means that the platform users are the business process owners, not the programmers. But that also means that the platform needs to be non-technical, requires little or no programming. More on that later. Let's just say that this is not how traditional automations and robotic process automation projects are done. So how successful are these traditional RPA projects? Basically, while many enterprises start to use traditional RPA automations, only around 1 in 10 find it easy to scale. And the reason is that the real challenge starts to appear when you try to scale. If you don't have the right platform or you don't have the right approach. Automating desktop tasks is easy. Scaling automation to have maximum impact is not. So given this challenge of scaling robotic process automation, what is Blueprism's approach to offering sophisticated technology to business users and allowing them to scale? So Blueprism's enterprise-grade platform powers a digital workforce that enables business users, business leaders, finance and accounting leaders to create new and exciting business opportunities while transforming business processes to unlock massive efficiencies. Blueprism's digital workers work and learn like humans while also connecting people and all technologies to perform even more complex tasks, end-to-end activities that drive digital transformation across the enterprise. Our vision basically is a digital workforce for every enterprise. Realistically, we see the modern organization being made up of 1/3 systems, 1/3 people, and 1/3 digital workers. We believe we can have the same impact as robotics did in the auto manufacturing industry, for example. So in order to scale, you really need to have 2 key areas covered. One is the platform, and second is the how, basically the operating model. Let's talk about what the platform needs to have as a foundational principle in order for business users to drive these automations. So you need to be able to reuse components. For example, once you create an object to go access a specific application and get some specific data, you should be able to reuse this object in any other process. No need to redo the work. The platform has to be resilient. Digital workers need to know what to do if they have an issue. You need to be able to deploy more digital workers to a particular process whenever it's needed. And of course, you need to do all of this while ensuring compliance with IT policies and security guidelines. And so basically, Blueprism delivers an intelligent, skilled digital workforce that serves as a business-led platform. And it's this area that is being business-led is absolutely crucial for the transformation of finance and accounting functions, because nobody else can do the work that the finance and accounting teams are doing today. To deliver on our vision, our software aligns with three core principles. So it's business-led, it's technology control with high security standards, simple and shared licensing. We provide simplicity and governance to support scale. It's also an intelligent platform with instant access to intelligent automation skills. We empower business teams to have access to cutting edge technologies like AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. While the platform certainly lays the foundation for the ability to scale, you need an operating model. It is important to clearly articulate what is the current state, where are you going, what is the desired state. We have a set of best practices that we developed for customers that look at digital workers as a strategic asset to scale. We call this our robotic operating model. It's basically quite simple. To be able to best operationalize this implementation, there definitely needs to be a vision for the organization, as well as having an organization to get this operating model designed and supported. And to be able to do that, you need to look at, we believe, 7 foundational areas for successful deployment and scale. At a high level, we want to start by defining our vision for a process automation that is needed. It involves identifying expected business benefits, outlining how these align to the strategy of the organization. Afterwards, you want to be able to define the organizational design that really best supports ensuring this capability and aligning it with your current strategy. As we begin to better understand what ideas we have around this, we want to ensure an opportunity assessment to internally define which processes are worthy of automation, in what priority, and how can I maximize the benefit associated with that. Now, I want to give you an example of what a customer has done. You've seen the video earlier. Mashreq Bank uses business teams and the business teams themselves. They deploy Blueprism's digital workers to reduce a key process from 48 hours to 3, improving productivity by 60%. They're basically using cutting-edge technology, including sophisticated optical character recognition, form of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And they apply the digital workers and the robotic operating model to produce outstanding results. So what does it take to scale automation for maximum impact? Let me summarize how we at Blueprism see the best approach for that. Our view is that you have to have a vision of where you want your business area to be in the future. Start small, but not think small. Start with a process that matters, that has a business impact. Use a platform like Blueprism, which is business-led, IT supported, and has intelligence skills. And then make sure you have a structure to deliver this this automation, something like the robotic operating model from Blueprism. I want to thank you for being here today, and I enjoyed interacting with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I think it was a very, very informative session. We have a couple of questions, so I'm just going to ask them to you from a couple of attendees. So we have a question asking, how do you compare the awareness of the impact of RPA in the Middle East compared to other regions?
You know, if you speak generally, we are less mature of a market, right? But that's a general statement. More specifically, the Middle East has some of the leading innovative companies anywhere. You take some of the banks that we have in the Middle East, you take some of the telecom operators that we have in the Middle East, some of the airlines. And so it varies. I think in the Middle East, because we don't have as big of constraints from a legacy, we see customers adopting very gutsy technologies, doing very brave transformations. And so I would actually take some of the customers in the Middle East as more advanced than many customers in the more mature economies. So I think we have some of the most innovative companies in the world, and we see certainly major customers deploying the digital workers from Blueprism in very innovative ways and in breakthrough ways, and they're examples for other customers worldwide as well.
All right, we have another question. We have how the RPA will affect present tradition accounts and finance model.
Well, I think if you look at the study I mentioned, you have two dimensions really, and you need to work on two dimensions. What is, I think, unique about Blueprism and the way we approach this is that it is business-led, which means, thinking about the finance and accounting function, you want new skills, you want the finance and accounting teams to be better business partners and acquire new skills. Well, I mean, easier said than done, because if you ask the finance and accounting professionals, they're overloaded with tasks. And the tasks seem to be endless, and there is more and more pressure on them to do more. And so the way we see it is that automation, if done correctly, in other words, if it's driven by the finance and accounting teams, where they're the ones that are doing the automation, then you have a super finance and accounting professional who has a great overview of his function, partners with digital workers to do the work that is repetitive, that involves integrating with multiple systems, while the finance professional now is becoming a better partner for the business simply because you're freeing him up. You're freeing him up from tasks that he can get the digital workers to do, where the digital workers can not only do the common tasks, but then the finance professional will be able to come up with even new use cases to deploy these digital workers to do more, so that first he can do more in terms of partnering with the business, but also more importantly, innovate in how to use digital workers within their function. So it touches both areas, the technology area, but I think more importantly, it's the skills area and the people area, because finance and accounting is built around people. I know there's a lot of numbers, but without people, none of those numbers are going to be able to do anything or provide insight to the business without the finance and accounting teams. I hope that answers the question.
Well, there are a lot of questions, but I think I'm going to ask you this last question. How do we accelerate finance transformation with RPA?
Can you repeat the question, please? I didn't hear the first word.
Yes. How do we accelerate finance transformation with RPA?
I mean, that's an excellent question. And how do you start is the most common question we get from customers. And we believe, one, you cannot look at a transformation project and the way we do it, certainly in Blueprism, by only looking at automating tasks. That's too low. You need to think about it as a transformational exercise. You need to have a vision of where you want the finance function to be in the future. That's the first thing. Second, and we see that also in many failed automations. I mean, we interact with customers that have tried automations with different approaches than Blueprism, and they don't manage to scale. And the reason is they start with an insignificant area. So first is vision, This is not about automating a small task. That's the first thing. Second, you pick an area that is important, that is business impactful, and you do automation on that process, something that is very important for the organization. That way, the impact of this automation is not marginal, it is significant, and it feeds into the vision, and you get more traction to be able to do even more things when you do something that is more important. So the two things, vision, thinking big, but then starting small with a high impact and important process for the business.
All right, that is great. Thank you so much, Mr. FAWWAZ. It was absolute honor to have you, talking and giving such an informative session. Well, to all the attendees, thank you so much for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Just a request, we're going to start our coffee break, a short coffee break for 20 minutes. I would request all the attendees to please network in the networking lounge, meet your peers, all the exhibitors, and we will start our next session exactly at 12. We will have a panel discussion with the top CFOs from the Middle East on leading finance in disruptive times. So looking forward to see all the attendees attending the event, attending the session at 12. Yes, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, take care.